Hello and welcome back to Coding with Kenny G. This is the beginner series, and this episode is going to be interesting because we are going to have our turret be able to spawn a bullet using input. Input is a new thing that we're going to learn. Input is when you are clicking a button. For example, the mouse button or a keyboard button, or a gamepad button, or any other sort of input interaction. Now, this episode is going to focus on scripting mainly, and we're going to be learning two things in this episode that is sort of important concepts to learn. First of all, input handling, and second of all, something called the update loop. So this episode is probably going to be a little bit longer to kind of go through it all. But let's get going, shall we? Put this down here, close this, and then open up the turret scene where we have our little cannon here ready to go. And if you remember from the last episode, when we press play currently, there is a red ball or bullet spawned from the start start function, but that we're not doing anything with input yet. So first of all, I need to show you a thing in Unity. This is one of those things in Unity that I don't like too much because it's not very beginner friendly. It's very convoluted. But Unity is a professional game development engine. So some things are just going to be, a little bit, what can I say? A little bit complex, but I'm going to show you. Up here in the menu in the upper left in the Unity editor, we're going to click Edit. And then we're going to click Project Settings. We're going to get this crazy thing. Oh man, there's so many things up here. Wow, scary. But the only thing that we are going to care about right now is the thing that is called the input system package. So this is where we are, if I just collapse all of these things so that it's not as confusing, right here in the input system package, we see a few predefined input things. Let's call it that. These are actions that are predefined, already built in, and this is a so-called new input system. So I don't exactly remember which version of Unity this came with, but if you installed essentially the newest Unity version when you started this series, so we are running the 6.3 LTS long-term support version of Unity, then you'll have the newest input system, the input system package. This is where we have certain things defined. We have an attack command, and we have a movement command. We're not going to touch this stuff at all. I just wanted to show you where this stuff lives. And I'll be referring to this a little bit back and forth as we go into the scripting part of things. So this was the project settings, and now I'm going to close this window again. We're going to refer to these actions in code in order to make our input work. Okay, I'll show this to you afterwards again. But that's where the input commands lives, and now we're going to move into our turret script. You can open it from the project view. You can select the turret in the hierarchy and double click the turret script in the inspector. Okay, so here is our turret script. Let's do a little recap of where we're at. So we see all of our variables up at the top of the script. Then we created a few functions here: get turret name, set turret name, get introduction. This was in the previous episodes where we learned a little bit about functions. And then in the last episode, we learned to fire a bullet at a certain spawn position that we send in as parameter. See the last episode for parameter functions. And then we learned to instantiate a bullet into the game world. Yeah? And then down in the start function that is called automatically by Unity when the game starts up, we are firing one bullet here. We are calling the fire bullet function, and then we are spawning one bullet. So when I click the game again, press play, we see that one bullet, the red ball, spawns. Yes. Okay, so now we are going to let this event happen by input instead of being called in the start function. So we're going to start a little scripting thing here. I'm going to scroll all the way up in the script, and at the very top, this one we haven't touched except in the very first episode where the called C# class, I think, mentioned the using statement. Now we are going to be using another thing. We're going to write using Unity engine dot input system, and that with a semicolon. What this line of code does is that we are now gaining access to code from the input system. This means that now we can create some variables in our script that uses things from the input system. Now, we are going to create a variable. I'm gonna create a little comment here. We need to store some variables for input commands. So currently we have written our variables as public, but this guy doesn't really need to be that, so we are going to write this as a private variable. So private, and then what was it called again? I actually need to check my little cheat sheet here. It's called an input action. Input action. So we're gonna call this the attack action. So an input action is where we're gonna store a variable that we're gonna find in the input system. So this variable is not assigned a value yet. So, you know, in our previous variables, sometimes we give it a default value here. For example, for ammunition count, we say equal to 10. But when we learned to instantiate a bullet, we didn't fill this variable with any value. The same thing here with the attack action, because we're going to fill this variable with a value down in the start function. So I'm going to scroll down to the start function. Currently below the fire bullet function, probably going to delete that afterwards, but right now we're going to assign the attack action value. So the attack action is equal to, let's see, give me 2 seconds. Yes. Attack action is equal to input system dot actions dot find action, and we're gonna search for an action called attack. We have to write this as a string, so within string quotation marks. Okay, now I'm gonna try to explain these two code lines that we have created. First of all, we assigned or created a variable up here called an input action, or is a private variable of type input action. And we're gonna name the variable attack action. Then, down here, we are assigning that variable a value of, so it's equal to input system dot actions dot find action. Essentially, we're searching through the available actions in our actually, I need to show that to you in Unity again. So, you know, the find action here, we're searching for something called attack as a string. If I go back to Unity, click Edit, Project Settings, and then I find the input system package. These things here, move, look, attack, interact, crouch, etc. Well, they're named attack, right? Like as a string, the word attack. And what this code line does right here in our script, input system dot actions, so all of the actions inside here, dot find action, well, we're finding the action called attack here. And we are assigning that to a variable so that we can get, you know, when you actually click the button, in this case, it'll respond to mouse button 0, which is your left mouse button. This is defined, I'm back in Unity in the input system package. If I drop down the attack action here, you'll see that this action is bound, have a binding to the left button of the mouse, but it will also work with the keyboard if you click enter, because it's defined here. And it'll also work even on a mobile, on touch screen, with a tap, and with a with a gamepad click. So essentially, as long as you click any of those buttons, this action here, the attack action, will be registered as, hey, this happened. Then we can do things. Then we can respond to that event and do actions. In this case, we want to fire a bullet. So, okay, we have prepared in our start function, we have assigned this variable a value. That's all we need to be able to go to the next step, where below the start function, after its closing curly brace, so below that, right? So it's a new thing outside, but still inside of the class. You see it here with the dotted line all the way up to the top of our class here, right? We still need to be inside that. Now we're going to write a new built-in function to Unity, which is called void update. This is a special function. If we hover over it, you'll see the little box here describing what it is. Update is called every frame. That's the key. So that's called a game loop. As the game runs, everything in the game essentially runs, well, as long as it's running an update loop. When in the update loop, this runs every frame of the game, meaning that it runs really fast. When we say frames per second, maybe you have heard that term from gaming. Frames per second. That is how many frames we are computing each second. And this is done inside of an update loop. I will demonstrate what happens when an update loop is running very easily. You don't need to write this, but I'll just show you. I'll write a debug log inside of the update function. Debug.log. Hey, I am running update. There we go. Just that. Because we're gonna see that when I save this script and go back to Unity and close down this project settings window, now in the console we're gonna see just a wild amount of debug.log statements. It's gonna go really fast. So I press play and see here. This is because I'm gonna pause here, pause the playing so that this stops. I'm gonna go back to our script, and inside of the update loop, this code is now being called every frame, meaning a lot. So that's why we have over 999 plus debug.log statements in the console here right now. Okay, so that's called the update loop, and this is how we can make things, for example, move over time. When you are moving your player character around in a video game, it's moving over time, so it's moving inside of an update loop. But let's now try to actually, within our script, in the update function, I'm going to delete this debug.log statement. And now we're going to learn something called an if statement. If is a C# keyboard that is how we check for conditional statements. Hey, is this number above 0? Is this thing true or false? We can check for logical values, yeah. And now we're gonna listen to our input system, or rather the attack action here, and we're gonna see. I'm just gonna write it now, and I'm gonna explain what's happening. If attack action dot was performed this frame inside of opening and closing parentheses, and then I'm gonna write curly braces like so. Oops, this also needs to be a method call. Yeah, so if, so that's a conditional. Hey, if the attack action, so if this event actually was registered during this frame, because the update loop is running like a lot, right? So we are checking, hey, this frame that we are now evaluating, was the attack action registered as performed? Performed in this context means that I clicked the button. But I'll demonstrate in Unity how this actually works right now. So we are going to call the fire bullet function inside of here. So fire bullet, and then I'm gonna send in the parameter. It asks for a spawn position, so we're sending in the bullet spawn position transform dot position, and then after closing parentheses, semicolon. Okay. So let's see if this works, and then if it works, I'll try to explain properly how this functions. So we're gonna press play, and when hovering the game window, I'm gonna click the left mouse button. Yes, it is working, because right now you can see that there are 3 bullet clones up in the hierarchy on the left side here, and if I click many times, we are spawning more. Unfortunately, they are spawning on top of each other. If I go to the scene view and then I select one of these bullets, you'll see they are spawning on top of each other. But we're gonna deal with moving this bullet a little bit later. But why does this work? So I'm just gonna stop the play mode so that all of this stuff gets removed, and then I'm gonna start it again. Right now, when the game is playing, nothing happens until I click the button. Yeah, but the update loop here is right now running. Is like I demonstrated with the debug.log statement previously, where this is in fact running right now inside of Unity. But it's not responding to anything, because the only code line we have inside of the the update function here is an if statement saying, hey, if the attack action variable has an event where it says, hey, I was performed this frame, then we go into the if statement here, and then we are calling the fire bullet function that actually fires or instantiates the bullet into the game world. Pretty cool. Let's see. So, and it only does it once, meaning if I hover over the game window here, and then I click and hold the left mouse button, click and hold, you'll still see up in the hierarchy on the left side that there is only one bullet spawned. This means that it's handling that we're only handling one click essentially, which is good in this case, because now we have to click multiple times to fire each bullet. We could also make this work as if I hold down the mouse button, then it'll continuously fire. But then we would have like 1,000 bullets into the scene immediately. It just like that. So that's why we are trying trying to handle that only one button click. So yeah, was performed this frame. I hope that you understood that. If when we are running this code, this is false. This is evaluated as false, right? If the attack action here, triggered by us clicking the mouse button 0, left mouse button, this is false when we're not clicking the button. This means that when we are evaluating this if statement here, inside here, hey, was it performed this frame? Then it says no, it was not. So then the compiler just ignores all of the code inside here and moves past it. And then it'll reach like the lower ending curly brace, and then it'll start again from the top, like a loop. Yeah. And then when we are actually clicking the button, the left mouse button, then the if statement here says, hey, attack action, did something happen there? Was it performed this frame? And then it evaluates to true. Yes, it was performed this frame. Then it goes into the if statement and actually fires the bullet. Woo! Okay, so that's pretty cool. We are starting to get some interactivity going on here. In the next episode, we will also be rotating or moving the turret body so that we can move it. I'll just demonstrate it here. You know, we're gonna be rotating this guy, oops, using input in the next episode, so that you get another example of how the update loop functions, and how another example of input handling. So I hope that you managed to learn this. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.